Welcome to my Beginning Basic English as a Second Language class. This is Unit 7, Lesson 1. Unit 7, Lesson 1. Modals, prepositions of place, and more verb tense practice. Can, ability to do something. Know how to, the ability and something that you learned. I can speak English. I studied Spanish in school. I know how to speak Spanish. He can cook. He learned to cook Chinese food. He knows how to cook Chinese food. Know how to, yes and no. Do you know how to speak English? Yes, I do. No, I do not. Does he know how to cook Chinese food? Yes, he does. No, he doesn't. Does she know how to drive a car? Yes, she does. No, she does not. Do they know how to play the piano? Yes, they do. No, they do not. Do you know how to ride a bicycle? Yes, we do. No, we don't. Verb tense. Present tense, bring. Present continuous tense, bringing. Past tense, brought. Future tense, going to bring and will bring. The mailman brings mail to my house every day. Except Sunday. The mailman brings mail to my house every day except Sunday. The mailman brings mail to my house Monday through Saturday. The arrow points to the answer. Try to ask the question. Who brings mail to your house every day except Sunday? What does the mailman bring to your house every day except Sunday? What does the mailman do every day except Sunday? When does the mailman bring mail to your house? Where does the mailman bring mail every day except Sunday? Who brings mail to your house Monday through Saturday? Where does the mailman bring mail Monday through Saturday? When does the mailman bring mail to your house? What does the mailman bring to your house Monday through Saturday? What did the mailman bring to your house on Monday? He brought packages from my mother. The mailman brought packages from my mother on Monday. Who brought packages from your mother on Monday? When did the mailman bring packages from your mother? What did the mailman bring from your mother on Monday? Who did the mailman bring packages from on Monday? The answer, the mailman did. What's the question? Who brought packages from your mother on Monday? The answer, my mother. What's the question? Who did the mailman bring packages from on Monday? He brought packages from my mother. Where are they? They are at home. What are they taking to school? They are taking pencils. What else are they taking to school? What else are they taking to school? They are also taking paper. They are taking pencils and paper to school. Are they taking pencils and paper to school? Yes, they are. Who is taking pencils and paper to school? They are. Where are they taking pencils and paper? They are taking pencils and paper to school. Where are they going? They're going to school. Where are you? I am at school. What are they bringing to school? They are bringing pencils. What else are they bringing to school? They are also bringing paper. Are they bringing pencils and paper to school? Yes, they are. Who is bringing pencils and paper to school? They are. Where are they bringing pencils and paper? They are bringing pencils and paper to school. Present continuous tense. They are bringing pencils and paper to school. Present tense. They bring pencils and paper to school every day. Past tense. They brought pencils and paper to school yesterday. Future tense. They are going to bring pencils and paper to school tomorrow. Future tense. They will bring pencils and paper to school tomorrow. I'm going to ask a question now. You try to say the answer. Then a yellow arrow will point to the answer, and you try to ask the question. Where do they bring pencils and paper every day? Where do they bring pencils and paper every day? Where did they bring pencils and paper yesterday? Where did they bring pencils and paper yesterday? Where are they bringing pencils and paper? Where are they bringing pencils and paper? Who will bring pencils and paper to school tomorrow? Who will bring pencils and paper to school tomorrow? What did they bring to school yesterday? What did they bring to school yesterday? What else did they bring to school yesterday? What else did they bring to school yesterday? Where are they going to bring pencils and paper tomorrow? Where are they going to bring pencils and paper tomorrow? Who is bringing pencils and paper to school? Who's bringing pencils and paper to school? When do they bring pencils and paper to school? When do they bring pencils and paper to school? What are they going to bring to school tomorrow? What are they going to bring to school tomorrow? What else are they going to bring to school tomorrow? What else are they going to bring to school tomorrow? When are they going to bring pencils and paper to school? When are they going to bring pencils and paper to school? What are they bringing to school? What are they bringing to school? What else are they bringing to school? What else are they bringing to school? Who brings pencils and paper to school every day? Who brings pencils and paper to school every day? What will they bring to school tomorrow? What will they bring to school tomorrow? What else will they bring to school tomorrow? What else will they bring to school tomorrow? When did they bring pencils and paper to school? When did they bring pencils and paper to school? What do they bring to school every day? What do they bring to school every day? What else do they bring to school every day? What else do they bring to school every day? Who is going to bring pencils and paper to school tomorrow? Who's going to bring pencils and paper to school tomorrow? Where will they bring pencils and paper tomorrow? Where will they bring pencils and paper tomorrow? Who brought pencils and paper to school yesterday? Who brought pencils and paper to school yesterday? When will they bring pencils and paper to school? When will they bring pencils and paper to school? Present continuous tense. They are taking pencils and paper to school. Present tense. They take pencils and paper to school every day. Past tense. They took pencils and paper to school yesterday. Future tense. They are going to take pencils and paper to school tomorrow. Future tense. They will take pencils and paper to school tomorrow. I'm now going to ask some questions. You try to say the answer. Then a yellow arrow will point to the answer, and then you try to ask the question. Where do they take pencils and paper every day? Where do they take pencils and paper every day? Where did they take pencils and paper yesterday? Where did they take pencils and paper yesterday? Where are they taking pencils and paper? Where are they taking pencils and paper? Who will take pencils and paper to school tomorrow? Who will take pencils and paper to school tomorrow? What did they take to school yesterday? What did they take to school yesterday? What else did they take to school yesterday? What else did they take to school yesterday? Where are they going to take pencils and paper tomorrow? Where are they going to take pencils and paper tomorrow? Who is taking pencils and paper to school? Who's taking pencils and paper to school? When do they take pencils and paper to school? When do they take pencils and paper to school? What are they going to take to school tomorrow? What are they going to take to school tomorrow? What else are they going to take to school tomorrow? What else are they going to take to school tomorrow? When are they going to take pencils and paper to school? When are they going to take pencils and paper to school? What are they taking to school? What are they taking to school? What else are they taking to school? What else are they taking to school? Who takes pencils and paper to school every day? Who takes pencils and paper to school every day? What will they take to school tomorrow? What will they take to school tomorrow? What else will they take to school tomorrow? What else will they take to school tomorrow? When did they take pencils and paper to school? When they take pencils and paper to school? What do they take to school every day? What do they take to school every day? What else do they take to school every day? What else do they take to school every day? Who's going to take pencils and paper to school tomorrow? Who's going to take pencils and paper to school tomorrow? Where will they take pencils and paper tomorrow? Where will they take pencils and paper tomorrow? Who took pencils and paper to school yesterday? Who took pencils and paper to school yesterday? When will they take pencils and paper to school? When will they take pencils and paper to school? Verb tense. Present tense, choose. Present continuous, choosing. Past tense, chose. Future tense, going to choose, will choose. Present tense, win. Present continuous tense, winning. Past tense, won. Future tense, going to win, will win. Present tense, lose. Present continuous tense, losing. Past tense, lost. Future tense, going to lose, will lose. Present tense, flip. Present continuous tense, flipping. Flipping a coin. Past tense, flipped. Future tense, going to flip, will flip. Heads, tails. What do you choose? I choose heads. Who chooses heads? I do. Do you choose heads? Yes, I do. What does he choose? He chooses tails. Who chooses tails? He does. Does he choose tails? Yes, he does. What did you choose? I chose heads. Did you win? Yes, I did. Who won? I did. Did you lose? No, I did not. What did he choose? He chose tails. Did he lose? Yes, he did. Who lost? He did. Did he win? No, he did not. Past tense. I chose heads at the park yesterday. Present tense. He chooses heads at the park every time. Future tense. They are going to choose tails at the park next Sunday. Future tense. She will choose tails at the park next Saturday. What are they going to choose at the park next Sunday? What are they going to choose at the park next Sunday? Where did you choose heads yesterday? Where did you choose heads yesterday? What will she choose at the park next Saturday? What will she choose at the park next Saturday? Where does he choose heads every time? Where does he choose heads every time? Who chose heads at the park yesterday? Who chose heads at the park yesterday? When are they going to choose tails at the park? When are they going to choose tails at the park? Where are they going to choose tails next Sunday? Where are they going to choose tails next Sunday? Where will she choose tails next Saturday? Where will she choose tails next Saturday? Who chooses heads at the park every time? Who chooses heads at the park every time? What did you choose at the park yesterday? What did you choose at the park yesterday? When will she choose tails at the park? When will she choose tails at the park? Who is going to choose tails at the park next Sunday? Who's going to choose tails at the park next Sunday? What does he choose at the park every time? What does he choose at the park every time? Who will choose tails at the park next Saturday? Who will choose tails at the park next Saturday? When does he choose heads at the park? When does he choose heads at the park? When did you choose heads at the park? When did you choose heads at the park? Try to write the missing words. What is he doing? He is flipping. What is he flipping? He is flipping a coin. Is he flipping a coin? Yes, he is. What did she say? She said heads. Who said heads? She did. Did she say heads? Yes, she did. Did she win? Yes, she did. Verb tense. Present tense, turn on. Present continuous tense, turning on. Past tense, turned on. Future tense, going to turn on, will turn on. Present tense, turn off. Present continuous tense, turning off. Past tense, turned off. Future tense, going to turn off, will turn off. Present tense, flip. Present continuous tense, flipping. Past tense, flipped. Future tense, going to flip, will flip. Flip on, flip off. Flipping on, flipping off. Flipped on, flipped off. Going to flip on, will flip off. What are you going to do? I'm going to turn on the light. What did you do? I turned on the light. What did you do? I turned off the light. What are you going to do? I'm going to flip the light switch. I'm going to flip on the light switch. What did you do? I flipped on the light. What did you do? I flipped off the light. Verb tense, present tense, dig, present continuous, digging, past, dug, future, going to dig, will dig, present, plant, present continuous, planting, past, planted. What is he doing? He is digging. What is he digging? He is digging a hole. Where is he digging a hole? He is digging a hole at his house. Who is digging a hole at his house? He is. Is he digging a hole at his house? Yes, he is. What is he going to do? He is going to plant. What is he going to plant? He's going to plant flowers. Where is he going to plant flowers? He's going to plant flowers at his house. When is he going to plant flowers at his house? He is going to plant flowers next week. Who is going to plant flowers at his house next week? He is. Is he going to plant flowers at his house next week? Yes, he is. Present continuous tense. I am digging a hole in my yard. Past tense. He dug a hole in his yard yesterday. Future tense. She is going to dig a hole in her yard tomorrow. Future tense. They will dig a hole in their yard next Saturday. Present tense. We dig holes in our yard every year. I'm now going to ask some questions. Try to say the answer. A yellow arrow will then point to the answer, and then try to ask the question. Where did he dig a hole yesterday? Where did he dig a hole yesterday? When do we dig holes in our yard? When do we dig holes in our yard? Where is she going to dig a hole tomorrow? Where's she going to dig a hole tomorrow? Who is digging a hole in your yard? Who's digging a hole in your yard? What will they dig in their yard next Saturday? What'll they dig in their yard next Saturday? When did he dig a hole in his yard? When did he dig a hole in his yard? Who is going to dig a hole in her yard tomorrow? Who's going to dig a hole in her yard tomorrow? Who dug a hole in his yard yesterday? Who dug a hole in his yard yesterday? Where will they dig a hole next Saturday? Where'll they dig a hole next Saturday? What did he dig in his yard yesterday? What did he dig in his yard yesterday? Who digs holes in their yard every year? Who digs holes in their yard every year? Where are you digging a hole? Where are you digging a hole? When is she going to dig a hole in her yard? When's she going to dig a hole in her yard? What do we dig in our yard every year? What do we dig in our yard every year? What are you digging in your yard? What are you digging in your yard? Who will dig a hole in their yard next Saturday? Who'll dig a hole in their yard next Saturday? Where do we dig holes every year? Where do we dig holes every year? What is she going to dig in her yard tomorrow? What's she going to dig in her yard tomorrow? When will they dig a hole in their yard? When will they dig a hole in their yard? Present continuous. I am planting flowers in my yard. Present tense. He plants flowers in his yard every year. Past tense. They planted flowers in their yard last year. Future tense. She is going to plant flowers in her yard this week. Future tense. We will plant flowers in our yard next week. What will we plant in our yard next week? What will we plant in our yard next week? When is she going to plant flowers in her yard? When's she going to plant flowers in her yard? Who is planting flowers in your yard? Who's planting flowers in your yard? Where is she going to plant flowers this week? Where's she going to plant flowers this week? What does he plant in his yard every year? What does he plant in his yard every year? Who will plant flowers in our yard next week? Who will plant flowers in our yard next week? What are you planting in your yard? What are you planting in your yard? Where does he plant flowers every year? Where does he plant flowers every year? When did they plant flowers in their yard? When they plant flowers in their yard? Who is going to plant flowers in her yard this week? Who's going to plant flowers in her yard this week? Where will we plant flowers next week? Where will we plant flowers next week? What did they plant in their yard last year? What did they plant in their yard last year? Who planted flowers in their yard last year? Who planted flowers in their yard last year? What is she going to plant in her yard this week? What's she going to plant in her yard this week? When will we plant flowers in our yard? When will we plant flowers in our yard? Where are you planting flowers? Where are you planting flowers? When does he plant flowers in his yard? When does he plant flowers in his yard? Who plants flowers in his yard every year? Who plants flowers in his yard every year? Where did they plant flowers last year? Where did they plant flowers last year? Are you going to plant a vegetable garden? Yes, we are. What will you plant? We will plant corn. What else will you plant? We will also plant carrots, celery, cauliflowers, pumpkins, lettuce, tomatoes, and onions. Where did you plant the carrots? Next to, beside, behind. Where did you plant the carrots? We planted the carrots next to the corn. Where did you plant the celery? We planted the celery beside the corn. Where did you plant the lettuce? We planted the lettuce behind the corn. Where did you plant cauliflowers? In the corner? Beside? In back of? Between? We planted cauliflowers in the corner. Where did you plant tomatoes? We planted tomatoes between the celery and the cauliflowers. Where did you plant onions? We planted onions in back of the celery and beside the lettuce. Where is the corn? It is in front of the lettuce and between the celery and carrots. Where is the cauliflower? It is in the corner next to the tomatoes. Where are the onions? They are behind the celery and beside the lettuce. Can you help me with my garden?
Yes, I can.
What can you do?
I can dig holes for your vegetables.
Do you know how to plant vegetables?
No, I don't. Can you teach me how to plant vegetables?
Yes, I can. This is the end of my Beginning Basic English as a Second Language class, Unit 7, Lesson 1. Thank you for watching.